Hello everybody. I'm taking advantage of the sudden hot weather here. For 3 nights in a row we had really cold weather. 2 nights of -15, last night -12. But since then it has clouded over and has been steadily warming up. Right now it is -3. I'm out in the Herring Cove Provincial Park. I guess you can see that sign there. Where I hope to snowshoe around the golf course. The Provincial Park is a large campground and a large public beach, and it also has a 9-hole golf course. I'm not a golfer, but I've had various golfers that I know from other locations that have come here and say it's a challenging course. Well, I wouldn't know that, but once they close it down in the fall, I often hike around it until spring again when they open it up. Well, with this snow on, I'm hoping that it'll be good snowshoeing. Anyway, I'll take you along with me. Well, I was able to find a parking spot. Somebody very kindly plowed out a small parking area in front of the building where you would register to camp. Roads in there aren't plowed out, but there was one other car already there, the yellow one, and I do see some ski tracks, so I think perhaps whoever that is probably out here skiing. Unfortunately, I also see some snowmobile tracks, which I don't imagine the people of the Provincial Park are very happy about. Lots of snow right now. I guess they wouldn't hurt anything, but could damage the greens if you find some bare greens somewhere. Anyway, just about ready to start my hike around the golf course. I'll give you some additional clips as I go here. This is unfortunate. A little more firewood for the campground. Nice big pine tree has broken off and come down in one of the early storms here. It wouldn't be that old of a tree either, but the center of it looks like it probably is rotted. I'll go over and take a closer look at it. But all these pine trees were planted here when the golf course was built back in the late 70s. There aren't any, or very few, native pine trees here on the island. Lots of spruce and fir, but when you see a pine tree, it's usually something somebody has bought from a nursery and planted. On closer examination, I guess it isn't a pine tree. Some sort of I would say a fir tree, so it's probably a native tree, but as you can see from the center of it there, it was rotten in the middle, so that was what made it come down in the windstorm. This white on white photography is never very easy, but I just passed or she passed me anyway, the lady that was out on the skis, and I'm guessing that must be snow trail that somebody else has made next to her ski track. A lot smaller than the snowshoes that I'm using, maybe a child or something. It almost looked like somebody walked around with those flippers that people wear when they are deep sea diving or whatever, but I guess it must be a small set of snowshoes. I'm not sure what kind of a tree this is. There are oaks and maples that were planted here, but you see all that side growth coming out of the trunk, and then you get up into it further, there's a lot of vertical growth that has come out, sort of like you would see sucker growth on an apple tree. I have a friend who's a retired forester, and he tells me when you see that kind of thing happening to a mature tree, it's a tree that's under stress. I don't know, I think these trees really don't appreciate all of the chemicals and fertilizer and whatever that's used on the grass here at the golf course. I think there's probably far too much nitrogen involved for a lot of these trees. Anyway, this one's showing signs of not being in great health. I'm really not sure which hole this is, probably 5th or 6th, something like that. I think I'm at least halfway around the course, but anyway, I'm standing on the tee above the green, which would be that white flat area way down there. This is usually a favorite place for people to come tobogganing and sliding in winter. Weather has just moderated, so perhaps later on this afternoon or tomorrow there will be people out here using it. Anyway, it's probably not too difficult a shot down over, but then you cross over through a path there, past quite a good sized pond that they use for irrigation. And the next tee brings you back up over the same hill, only over that way a little bit further. So I'm not a golfer, but I would think this is probably a bit of a challenge when you start shooting up over it. And I'm not going to walk down over it. I'm finding this exercise enough without trying to come up over the top of that again. This is the fairway for the 9th hole. So I've almost finished my track, I guess. I started about halfway down the first fairway, so I go up to the end of this fairway, and then off to the right is the clubhouse, and across the parking lot and down the first half of the first fairway, and there's where my car's parked. I'll give you a little look at the clubhouse and whatever before I finish. I'm standing on the tee for the first hole, looking back at the clubhouse through some trees there. It's a nice clubhouse. It has a pro shop, a combination restaurant and bar, and then of course the usual things downstairs, the locker rooms and whatever. Beautiful view from up there on the deck in the summertime if you want to take your meal outside to eat. It looks down across the golf course down to Herring Cove Beach, which is a beautiful black sand beach, about a mile long, I guess, from one end to the other. This end of it is in the provincial park, the other end is in the international park, the Roosevelt International Park. And offshore there is Grand Manan, which is wobbling up and down because I can't keep the camera steady. Anyway, I'm just about finished my snow trek. That's the fairway for the first hole, and I have to go about halfway down it, and that's where I turn off to the left and where I've parked my car. So I'll take this home and edit something together and see if I can get it up on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. Do the usual. Comment, rate, subscribe if you like, and I imagine this wind is causing havoc with the microphone.